Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Hoops Hitting Gems. I'm your host, David Jones. This is episode 46. We want to thank everybody for tuning in as usual. We were off a couple weeks. We had the NCAA tournament, and then we had live period, the first live period for the NCAA for high school this past weekend. So we didn't go on yesterday. We had a couple other things going on. So we decided to come on Tuesday, and this is a special show as usual since we're not doing it on Monday. Got a really good show in store tonight. We have Coach Tony Livings, so I'm going to introduce him from the Louisiana Knights post grad in Lafayette, Indiana. How you doing today, Coach?
How you doing, Coach? Actually, I'm in Lafayette, Louisiana, but yes, I am the head coach of the Louisiana Knights post grad here in Lafayette, Louisiana.
Okay, and this is going to be your first year upcoming in September, correct?
Yes, sir. And we'll have a tryout in June,
Okay.
and we have several players that we're already targeting, and probably around 6 players. So we'll probably be opening up a tryout for the last remaining 6 to 7 players that we will be trying to add to the roster.
Okay. Okay. And what type of schedule are you looking to play? Is it going to be a national schedule? Is it going to be regional, local? What type of schedule are you looking at?
Yes, sir. For the first year, this is our first year in the program. Last year, we were on the Louisiana Christian, which Coach Malcolm Ogeron was the head coach, and
Okay.
he recently took a job at his alma mater at John Curtis in New Orleans, and
Okay.
then so we decided to continue the program. And so this will be our first year. So we're trying to get between 10 to 15 games to 20 games schedule in our first year. And we're probably going to play much local teams in the state of Louisiana, and the state of Texas, and perhaps Florida. Now, I know you had spoke to me earlier about a regional tournament in the Atlanta area, which we will be focusing on in September, and perhaps you had mentioned in January.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So the kids that you're bringing in, are they all over the state of Louisiana? Are they outside of Louisiana? Or are they only just in Louisiana?
At this moment, we're basically just in Louisiana. We probably have maybe a 50-mile radius. We don't have any dormitories. So our players are basically practice, and then they probably they'll drive back to their residence. We have players as far as Baton Rouge, perhaps as far as Zwolle, Louisiana, which is probably about an hour or so away, to an hour and a half away. And therefore, these players can drive back. So we're starting out the program as just coming in, focusing on basketball, conditioning, weightlifting. What we try to do and what we're going to do, we're not interfering with eligibility. So we're taking online courses, preparatory courses, to help you to up in your ACT scores and to improve your GPA.
Okay. So basically, you're doing the SAT scores to help boost their scores, and you're doing some credit recovery classes, correct?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And some of your practices that you have, are you going to have some of the college coaches from around Louisiana come to your practices, or how is that going to work?
Yes, sir. We're gonna touch bases with and reach out to some of the college coaches to come and take a look, and we're also gonna have some familiar trainers that's gonna get these young men in the shape and to practice against some college players, some past college players that I've spoken to, and to doing one-on-one training, how to to adapt to the shot clock. The shot clock to a incoming freshman is very difficult to run plays. We learned that last year in the program against other JUCOs and NAIA schools. So that young man has to learn how to develop his body, to take the absorbment of contact, because you're playing against 20, 21-year-old, 22-year-old athletes, who have themselves have trained their bodies. So if you're fresh out of high school and you're just learning the system, most colleges, officiating will let you play. If you're not used to being bumped and you're always being, bailed out, that's not going to happen.
You're right. You are absolutely correct. And a lot of people realize once you get to the postgraduate type style of basketball, it can be physical, it can be fast paced. And, sometimes a lot of high school kids have to adjust to that physical style of play. So they're starting to look to the ref because what might have been a foul back in high school is not a foul in post grad, especially when you guys are playing or scrimmaging some of the junior colleges or NAIA schools, as you said.
Absolutely. So, speaking, on Twitter, we're putting up our website, which should be ready at the end of the month. Okay. And moving pretty fast toward that gives details on scheduling, what our program is all about. I was speaking to a parent today from a young man who graduated from Carver High School in New Orleans and won a state title. But he's 6'5", but he had two other players. One player that's going to go Division I, I believe at Texas Tech, and I think another young man he's headed somewhere to a D1 also too. But he just happened to not at that level right now, but he has the great potential. So upon speaking to him, he fits the program perfectly. And the last statement was to speak to his dad. And his dad, agreed that would be the best route for him to take. So, I think it's going to be an interesting and exciting program to, get these young men an opportunity to showcase themselves. Because you got to remember, and like we tell them, it's all about you when you get out there playing in front of these college coaches. If you don't play hard, they're not going to look at you at all. So it's up to you. We can only motivate you and train you for the setting, but you have to get out there and do the homework yourself.
So let me ask you this. One thing about this show, we have post grads that watch, we have JUCOs that watch, we have schools of all level. One of the guys that are watching right now and a good friend of the show, Piney Woods, which is right in Mississippi, is right next door to you. I'm sure you'll be getting a call because they would love to play you guys, I'm sure. And they're a newer program as well on the post-grad side. So you're going to get a number of people after this show that will probably reach out to you in regards to, wanting to play you and, introducing themselves.
Absolutely. We'll be looking forward to it. I mean, this is what this program is about,
Absolutely.
To get games and to get seen and to get looked at some schools and so forth. So we're excited about it. And, we will look at and challenge, most of our games, predominantly most of our games will be on the road. So
yes.
The location that we have, we can set up a 30-second shot clock, but, we prefer to be on the road playing in a hostile environment and giving these young opportunity to learn and for coaches to see us at their own place.
Now, don't quote me on this, but if I'm not mistaken, Sean Dumas Academy in New Orleans is going to have a post grad as well. They're going to be starting one, I think, this upcoming season. So you might want to check that out as well. I'm sure that would be a good game. That's
a great open door, Coach. That's close by, the closest we can get. And like I said, but we're excited, to go where we can participate and can compete and just these guys a fair shot. So that's some of the things that we'll be looking at. New Orleans, and like I said, with the schedule that you're setting up in the Atlanta, I think that opens up a lot of doors and draws a lot of interest. So we're just excited. We'll take on all challenges and we'll accept the invitations that we can get.
And that's definitely a good sound because don't quote me, I think just you and Sean Dumas Academy will be the only post grads in Louisiana, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there's a school that they're based with community college in Lafayette, Louisiana, Southwest Louisiana Community College,
Okay.
and they're called the Huskies, but they're a 2-year program. And the difference between that, you enroll in school at the community college, but you're using up your eligibility. When you state post grad, and that's the difference that we tell some of our players, we're not using your eligibility. So by hand, if a junior college or NAIA school contacts and wants that player, he or she still has that eligibility to play. With a community college, you're going to school, so your clock is ticking.
Correct.
And that's the point that we try to get across. And you're right. So we're basically probably the only 2 programs post grad that I've never really did much details. That's the first that I'm basically hearing. But it's a great thing because, like I say, New Orleans is right there. So that's another competition, to play. Like you say, Mississippi and Florida and so forth. So we're excited about it. Like I said, we're anxious to get started.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then some of the post grads, I'm almost certain out of the Houston area will be reaching out as well, because there's a number. I think there's like 2 or 3 out of Houston. I'm sure they'll reach out. I'm sure some of the Georgia ones will reach out. Some of the Alabama ones will reach out. So trust me, you won't have a problem scheduling games at all.
We're putting it out there. I hope all these, these coaches are listening to your show. They, get my information, and therefore we can partnership on that. That'd be fine.
Definitely. And, whatever I can do to help, just to, get your name out there. And I'm sure tonight after this show, my phone is going to ring. Hey, can I get his number so we can set up some games? Which is a good thing because, a lot of them were in your shoes as first-year programs in the past. So we're going to reach out to say, hey, whatever we can do to set up some games to help, they'll definitely be all for that. And I think this is a good thing because with the way the portal is right now, man, these kids don't understand that post grad is almost going to be a necessity.
Yes, sir. I have a few that I was speaking to, and they were still, well, coach, I'm gonna wait a little bit until, I respect everybody's, you don't want to really come down hard and say, listen, young man, this transfer, portal is serious. These junior colleges are serious in getting some of these transfer, and then after that, then they start looking at who's the next stud that was the stud up in high school, and then they may be looking at you. So you may have a 165-pound young man thinking, oh man, I have a chance of going. It's not like it used to be. It's just a whole different, it's a business of a business now. So, this program really helps, the person who, I hate to say get overlooked, but I always say, just didn't get the offer at that particular time, and you have a chance to prove yourself. So, this is what this program is all about. Is to continue your dream, but you have to put in the work.
Okay, and like you said, so your post grad is going to be set up to where it's commuting. They're going to commute in, correct?
Sir?
You said your post grad is going to be set up to where they commute in to the post grad, and they're going to practice in Lafayette, correct?
Yes, sir. We'll probably have maybe 1 or 2 to 3 players that live, on the outside. The majority of my players are from, we call it Acadiana. It's a regional area which probably covers, within 40 minutes of each other. So most of my players are from the Lafayette area and the Acadiana area, and maybe 3 outside that particular area. And, for starters, so as we continue to grow, and hopefully, one day we'll be able to house, out of town players for a period of time.
Okay. So, and let me ask this. So, as far as your schedule outside of post grads, do you plan on playing junior colleges and NAIA schools as well?
Yes, sir. We've been in communications with a few schools, LSU, LSUE, LSUA, Bossier Community College, Centenary, Louisiana College, BRCC in Baton Rouge. There's a junior college up in Lamar. It's Lamar State in Beaumont.
Yes.
I'm sorry, in Port Arthur. I'm sorry, in Port Arthur.
Yes, Lamar, Port Arthur. Yes, sir.
That's not our Lamar State in Port Arthur, and
Yes.
like I said, in the Houston area and the Dallas area, so far that we've reached out to. So we're basically
Okay.
like filling up our schedule, but don't let other coaches, don't let that deter you. We're very interested in trying to get some of those games, in those areas that you mentioned.
Okay. And how many games are you looking to play? About 30 or so?
No, sir. We're in our first year. We're probably looking between 15 to 20 games.
15 to 20? Okay.
If we can get close to that, then I think that would be, for our first year would be, a success, because we don't want to overburden ourselves, last year due to COVID, we had to cancel a lot of our games with the other program. But, hopefully this year we don't want to high ourselves too high and then something happens again. So we want to stay within that range so that we can have a complete season. And then we'll build off from there. We want to make it exciting. We want to, continue to keep doing this program, and so we want to make it reasonable.
So where will you play your home games at?
We have a community center. It's a progressive community center. It's a nice facility. What we're going to do, and I've been talking to management there. We're gonna add a second 3-point line, which is equal to the standard college 3-point line. And then we're gonna go to our university of UL. One of our former girls assistant coach named Errol Rogers. He's the head basketball coach at LCA. Louisiana Christian Academy in Lafayette, multiple state champions. He was a former UL girls coach, and he has connections with the portable shot clocks. So we're going to probably run several games, maybe 4 to 5 games in that particular place.
Okay.
But that's where our studies are going to be. We're going to, there's classrooms in that particular building. So that's where we're going to do all our online, prep courses. And, we're going to have guest speakers come in and talk to these young players about financial courses, one of our senators in the area, I spoke to him recently. He'll be glad to come in and speak on just certain objectives. So we'll be getting in guest speakers to come and speak, to the class, to the students, as well as have them doing other community outreach, programs.
Okay. I like the sounds of that. That's good. So a typical week. So if I come and play for your post grad, are you going to practice 3-4 times a week, 5 times a week? How's that going to work?
Well, during the 3 months before the season starts, we're looking at probably practicing maybe 2 to 3 times a week. That's going to consist of running plays. That's going to consist of core training and so forth. And then we're going to hit the weight room. We're going to do a lot of weight training, getting your body up into shape. Those adding a little muscle to their bodies, and then we're going to do a lot of conditioning, a lot of running. Outside. So we want to get them in condition to compete. One of the things that I noticed last year when we faced Louisiana at Alexandria, LSU at Alexandria, we played against one of our little guards. He was about 5'8" and about 145 pounds, but he actually played against a 6'2", probably 200-pound guard that was just beating him up, and he got frustrated, but he had to learn to use his body, with that 30-second shot clock, and it took maybe about 4 games for him to adjust. And he went on to act. Yeah, he went on to sign with LSU. Coach liked what he seen, and at the end of the season, he was rewarded by signing with LSU. So it just goes to show you that some of these kids, some of these young men have to get themselves in shape, have to be prepared, be disciplined, and we have to put in the work. So it's not going to be an easy task, but we're going to make it as close to being at that level, that next level as possible.
Okay. Okay. I like that. And it sounds like you have things in order. So the one thing, and I know you'll agree with me on this,
Yes, sir.
man, Louisiana has some really good athletes, and a lot of people don't know about that. And to see a lot of the AAU teams from Louisiana that come to Atlanta for live period and for other events. So I get to see them. And I've always said Louisiana has some excellent athletes. It's just that a lot of people don't know about them outside of the state.
Right.
What do you think?
That's right. That's right. You know, we're probably more of a football culture. I mean, we have superior athletes, in football, in the football world, but a lot of people don't realize that, we also have great athletes in basketball. We're not, once we're not very big as far as height wise, as I've seen in Texas and the Atlanta area and Dallas area. We if we do get a big guy, you can basically you'll probably know about him. But we do have average size 6'5" that can play, and the thing about that is that they just need that recognition a little further to not get overpassed. So I think a lot of them are going to come out and play with a chip on their shoulder, and we're going to be recognized, and we're going to get them to that level.
Okay. Now that's a question I love to ask. So, what are you looking for your kids? Are you looking to put them in NAI, D2, or just any level in period? JUCO. Where are you looking to place your kid?
That's the predominant place we're looking is at the JUCO area and the NAI. Because the athletes that we're probably getting are, probably that particular level at this point. Like I said before, your D1 players are basically, we only had, I think it was, I was told that out of the whole state of Louisiana, there was only 7 to 8 D1 players that signed. So that goes to show you how hard it is, but that just goes to show you the lack. So we're working with those type of JUCOs and NAIA students because, dreaming of the D1, that would have to come through that other training once they get to JUCO and the NAIA programs. They would have to excel themselves even higher. So we're going to start off by working with the junior college and preparing them for the NAIA programs, and then if the good Lord makes it happen for them, then that program could take them to D1.
Now, I will say this, Coach. Now, the people you have on your staff that are trainers are no slouch either, because Coach Marcus is a really good trainer now. Let's, I know about that.
Yes,
I didn't hear you say it again.
He's done a tremendous job. He's done a tremendous job with AAU, and he's a hardcore person with training, and to have him on the staff is it's remarkable. He went through a tragic. He lost his daughter, recently, a couple of months ago. But slowly but surely, with the good Lord's hand, he's bouncing back. But we sort of give him a leeway to do his grieving, and he slowly but surely, he's coming back and reliving that passion. But yeah, he's great to have on the staff. We also have a high school coach who's helping us out, Coach Christopher Kane. He coaches at Elton High School in Elton, Louisiana. We have another coach, Chris Fonseca, Mickey Senegal, and we put together a nice little staff, to accommodate what we're looking to accomplish.
Okay, so what style of play are you looking to play for that you like to coach? Are you a fast up and down type coach? Are you a physical in your face defensive guy? What's your style of play?
Well, I like defense first, so I like to press, and but offensive wise, you're right. I kind of like an up tempo. I like to run a lot of motion, cut and slash, but I focus mostly on defense because I feel that defense can create turnovers and that can create offense. So you have to have good defense for what these coaches are looking for, and that's the thing that we emphasize is defense because if you're just offensive minded, I could get 5 other players from any other area and just shoot the ball all day long. But you have to show me that you can play defense and make stops. Attempt to make
Absolutely.
stops. You're playing against some good competition, but you have to be a good defensive player. Because I myself and you as a coach, and all those that's watching out there, who doesn't like a good defensive player?
Absolutely.
We love a good defensive player. So if I can buy into definitely I can get them to play offense, and offense will come. So yes, I am a type of coach that loves to run a little bit, but motion, but I do stress a lot of defense.
Okay. Okay. So let me ask this as well, because we know at the end of the day, a defensive player is what college coaches are going to want to see because they always need defense. Don't get me wrong, offense sells tickets, but defense is what's going to get you on the floor and keep you in the game. So at the end of the day, are you going to play a straight man? Are you going to play zone? What type of defense are you looking to play?
Of course, we'll have to adapt to both. Depends on what is happening. We had an AAU game this past weekend, and one of my AAU coaches he kind of misinterpreted the other team's skill of handling the basketball. We were the better team, but they were the better athletes, I think, as far as going one-on-one. And we stayed in a man, and they literally just ate us up. And I walk up to him, I whisper in his ear, and I said, Coach, we need to go. They never made an outside shot. Everything they're doing is going to the goal. I said, maybe we need to drop into a zone. And he didn't yield to that. So he kept on with the man-to-man. And, it was a close game, and we got beat on the last second shot. The guy drove one end of the court and just made a basket. So that's why I say, we got to mix it up. You got to know, what the other team is doing to you. If he's not an outside shooting team, then you might want to pack it in. If they're a good penetrating team, you might want to pack it in. If you can play a man-to-man and get them to turn the ball over, then you may try that man-to-man. But you got to learn how to adjust defensive-wise just as you adjust offensive-wise.
Okay. And let me ask this as well. So I know the goal is you're probably going to carry about 10 to 12 players on your team.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sir. And for those guys that are basically, the 7th, 8th, and 9th, and 10th players, let me ask this. The goal for them is maybe a JUCO D2 or a JUCO D3, something like that, and possibly out of state for those type of players.
You're talking about those that would probably be you thinking like second string players? Or
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Here's the deal with that. When I look at recruiting players, I look at players to fill in, to play all positions, to be, you have to tell that to anybody anytime I coach a ball game. There's no set starters. Okay. I don't believe in, I think at any time the lineup can change at the start of a game. So in this program, I always emphasize that we don't have any set starters, so don't get comfortable. So everybody has the opportunity. You may start one game, you may not start one game. So I tell it to any kid that's playing for me, whether if it's high school, AAU, a lot of kids, coach, who's starting tonight? Who's starting? Am I starting? I tell them don't focus on starting. It's what you're doing out there when you get on the court. So I want everyone to be
Absolutely.
seen equally, and I don't want anybody to feel like that person is dominant, as a teammate over that person. We're all coming into it together to win together, to be seen together for the same purpose of getting that to the next level. So I won't start by saying I have just 5 that's going to continue to start the whole season. You have to shake things up a little bit. I like to mix up my starters. And I love to keep consistency, but I also like people to earn their spot, because when you designate a starter, that person usually takes some time off, or feel that they don't have to put out as much as that person. So I want everybody to be accountable, and so you never know who's going to start. Let me just put it that way.
Okay. And this last question as we wrap this up, for the coaches that want to reach out to you, how can they get in touch with you?
Okay, Coach. My number is I've been having my phone number for 20 years. So I basically like phone calls. If that's possible. That's
Okay.
the easiest way. And I could tell you across the screen. I'm not afraid to hide my phone number. It's area code 337, phone number 277-6426.
Okay.
That's Tony Living, Living.
Gotcha.
I can reach at Louisiana Christian Knights Post Grad, or you can pull it up on my Instagram, Twitter, or my Facebook.
Okay.
So those will be posted on there. But if you call my phone number, I'm more than welcomely will answer, and I prefer to talk to someone than just going face to face on social media. I was always a type of person that likes to compensate a little bit.
Gotcha. And Coach, I appreciate you coming on the show tonight. I know we've been going back and forth trying to get the schedule on to get you on the show.
Yes,
I appreciate you being patient, and finally we were able to get you on. And I definitely look forward to seeing you on one of the post-grad JUCO jamborees. And whatever I can do to help, man, I'm a phone call away, okay?
Coach, I'll definitely keep in touch with you, and then like I said, I'm reaching out to these other coaches who may be watching, and you and I will probably talk about what we talked about earlier in the Atlanta area, that the tournament that you're looking to. So we'll definitely stay in touch.
Definitely, Coach. Thank you for coming on the show. We'll be talking soon. You take care, okay?
Yes, sir. You have a good evening. You guys also have a good evening. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Take care. That was Coach Tony Living from Louisiana Knights Postgrad in Lafayette, Louisiana. It's going to be a first-year program that's up and coming, and they'll kick off in September. So he'll have a lot of stuff going on, and we'll follow up with him in the near future. My next guest, definitely a friend on the show. This is her second time on. Man, we talk off and on, and during the season, I'll just follow up like, hey, how's everything going? Or she'll follow up with me and ask how everything's going. And just by a sheer cancellation tonight, we had her do a little bit of backup duty for me. And man, I love this one right here. A good person right here, Coach Deshae Lee from New Mexico JC. How you doing today, Coach?
How you doing, David? I'm doing good. You got me on here last minute, but I was able to make it in.
I was laughing when you texted me that. I said, "Oh, she'll make that happen." I'm not worried about that. Right, she'll make it happen.
I was able to hide it. I'll go ahead and let everybody know I'm having a bad hair day, y'all. But I'm able to hide it pretty good for now. But no, I appreciate it, David. Definitely glad to be back on here for the second time. I mean, always got to support.
So let me ask you this. Since the season's over, I know you're in two modes. You're in getting the rest of your girls placed that aren't placed, and you're in recruiting mode to grab some of the high school girls or transfers, drop downs, correct?
Yeah, no, actually correct, but I'll add one. We can't forget about the players that are here and returning and developing them, so we can do better this year. So, but no, I mean, you're absolutely right, David. We have two young ladies who are sophomores who will be moving on, who are still unsigned. I got one highlight out to you. I'll be getting another one out to you because I know you able to do your thing real easily. And yeah, recruiting. Surprisingly, I haven't been on the portal much right now because my idea is that, if the portal is jumping, then there's some really, really good high school kids that are still out there. And 9 times out of 10, the portal kids don't want to hear from me right now. You know what I mean? They're looking for another D1, or they hear New Mexico and they like, it's not their first choice. So actually, I've just been going hard really on the high school kids, just been reaching out. I honestly could say that everyone on my list except for one young lady is high school, and one is transfer portal. So yeah, I mean, just doing things a little bit differently. Of course, we know that it's there, but just from kind of what I spoke on a little bit right now, we've done our part in reaching out, but we've noticed that these girls not trying to hear from us right now, which understandable. But it's 1,800 of them in there, and ain't everybody gonna be able to get a scholarship. So we'll probably keep some, or keep 1 or 2 to be able to save for a little bit later this summer.
But see, what they don't understand, Coach, they don't understand. You guys have a history of putting players on the next level. And see, people don't do their research. They'll just say, like you said, oh, New Mexico, oh, no. And the first thing I know is on both sides, on the men's and women's side, New Mexico does an excellent job of placing the kids. On top of that, your facilities are better than a lot of 4-year colleges as well. So, a lot of people do not even understand that part, And the way things are going right now, like you said, yeah, I think by this time next year, that window of having to wait is going to be cut down even more if they don't do something about this portal.
No, really. I think the ones who are in charge, like you said, they're going to have to do something. But then also, I'm hoping that it kind of changes the trajectory of the young ladies and the parents as well. Their mindset about 2 things actually, about transferring and then also about JUCO. You know what I mean? I think that it's controversial. It's plenty of different reasons why these young ladies are transferring. Some of them are definitely warranted. But on the flip side, we have some of us coaches who just feel like, they might, something is not going right there, at least not for that moment. And in that moment, they just decide to up and leave, with college basketball, but not even just college basketball, sports in general. It takes time, baby. It takes time for yourself to get better. It takes time for you to build trust with your coach, and you start trusting your coach more. You ought to get to the same page with each other. You to know exactly what they want, fill into it's so many different components to it. I think that it's hard for these young ladies who are kind of, unless they're one of the top players in the country, it might be a little easier for them to, just up and leave one spot and then end up at South Carolina or something like that. It might be a little bit easier. Yeah. But, for these other young ladies who, may not be that skilled or at that level and just hopping from one program to the next, it's really hard to find your place and pick up on that coach, that system. And then you find yourself in the transfer portal again, and so it's definitely something that I'm hoping changes around that. And then also, just the trajectory around JUCO. I mean, we still have that stigma that JUCO is not it. I think that there are plenty of JUCOs who have constantly proven that stigma to be wrong. Yeah. Plenty of young ladies getting out of JUCO ball and going on, like you said, whether it be here or anywhere else. I mean, every school is doing a good job of at least competing, and hopefully the coaches are getting the players out. You know what I mean? And that's what we're here for. And we're here to try to help your journey go a little bit easier.
Let me ask you this, and this is something I'm sure you're going to be able to speak on this. I've heard a lot of NAIA coaches are kind of gun shy to really contacting you, and when I talk to them, I'm like, why? I'm shoot your shot. Why not? Especially if you're a quality NAIA school, like why wouldn't you go after a JUCO D1? And we're to the point now, like, it's going to happen where some of these kids with the portal and all, they're going to have to look at NAIAs and other type of situations, and you still can go pro.
Definitely. And you know what? I've never been at the NAIA level, so I can't really speak. But on the flip side, I could say, I mean, it's probably just most coaches trying to avoid the the rejection that some programs may give, the same thing that we get. Sometimes we hit up an AAU coach and it's all, I ain't got no JUCO kids right now, coach. All my kids, so they might kind of shy away from reaching out with the mindset that we're probably just going to turn them down because we think that our kids are going bigger. Yeah. I would say that's not true. I mean, we have a NAIA right here down the road here in Texas, Wayland Baptist, and I mean, I think he has 2 or 3 transfers over there. One from St. John's, one from Abilene Christian. Looking at one of ours right now. I mean, they're big time. So he did his due diligence and he reached out to us about some of our kids we scrimmaged earlier in the season. He got to see them up close and personal. So now he's recruiting one of them heavily. You know what I mean? But I also think that NAIA shouldn't be scared to reach out, or not even scared, but shouldn't be reluctant, because when we're recruiting for our school, we're not just recruiting Division I players. There are going to be players that could play at every level. And then there also are going to be some walk-ons who didn't get their chance out of high school, but this is a kid who could play in NAIA, D2, whatever it might be, and they could still find quality kids. You know what I mean? So I definitely think that there's something that, like I said, they shouldn't be so reluctant. Hey, shoot your shot. That's what we all doing anyways. I mean, when we get turned down, I don't think you know how many coaches I've reached out to, and
I know.
I ain't got no JUCO kids.
I know.
I'm like, we got scholarship money, and maybe these kids ain't got that scholarship offer yet, and hey, ain't no JUCO kids right now. Okay, I'll leave it at that.
Now that's, and you're leading me right into my next question. So you guys give scholarships. So the scholarships based on full scholarships, or are they based on if you're Pell eligible or not?
No, we're able to do it 2 different ways. Thankfully, we're at a program that's very, very well funded. And so, we have a certain amount of full ride scholarships that we are able to give out. And then within those full rides, we can also split them up if need be, based upon what we feel like we may need. We may have one left, or we could take, maybe we just need a post and we'll give that full to a post, or, maybe we need 2 guards and we'll go ahead and split it in half. Usually with those young ladies, we do try to make sure that their Pell, that they do get their Pell grant, because we want to help them out. We want to try to make sure that you're not coming out of pocket. Not every situation ends up that way, but we do our best to try to make sure that the young ladies we get here to come on campus, are able to come out clean as best as we can.
Okay, and so let me ask this: so what would it take to get academic money at New Mexico? Would I need like a 3.0 or a 3.5 to get that academic money?
You know what? I wish I could answer this question, but our financial aid department don't even know right now. Okay. New Mexico is kind of unique. So there's a probably about, as far as what we use here at New Mexico Junior College, maybe about 7 or 8 different types of scholarships.
Okay.
Maybe 2 or 3 of those are kind of, hey, you're a New Mexico resident, you graduated from New Mexico high school, you had over a 2.5, whatever, and then they do like a random selection of who gets it. They can't tell us, and they can't apply for those. You apply for New Mexico Junior College, hey, you might get some money in your pocket, you won't even know. On the flip side, we have those scholarships that are more academic related. We have a lot of different technical type of degrees here. We're right here in the oil field. We have welding, we have automotive, we have cosmetology, nursing. And so some of those other scholarships are more based off of, hey, you may be qualified for this, apply, do the essay that's required, and you could get this amount of money. So it's a little different on both ends.
Okay. So when you say they don't know until they get to school. So let's just say you give the scholarship and then it comes back, financial says, oh, we decide to give them this money here. Is it just going in their pocket, or?
That's going in their pocket. If we bring a New Mexico kid on campus who we want, and let's just say that we offer them a full, so everything's covered. Well, yes, they can definitely show up, and they could have a little pocket of money that they didn't even know that they were going to get. Because what we're being told right now, and there's some things going on within the state of New Mexico. Things are still changing. The governor is passing. I believe it's supposed to be free tuition for young lady or for students getting out of high school and going into either a 2-year or a 4-year. I don't know how it works exactly. I
Wow.
have no idea. I know for us it'll be pretty good because we're a low cost junior college that doesn't cost too much money. I don't know what it looks like for the university level,
Yeah.
but for us, yes, that's how it would work. And pretty much, like I said, it's a random selection as far as what they know as of right now. And so, there are a couple of New Mexico young ladies that we have kind of sitting on that, like, hey, this may not be an opportunity for you to gain a scholarship, because we have specific players that we need to get in here, but we're not going to deny you. If you want to come be a part of this program, we want you to come. We want you to come be a part of it, be a part of our community, impact us in whatever way that you can. And then, if you get some money when you get here, hey, that's for the better.
So let me ask, in this, what you just said right there, are you open to redshirting a player like that?
That's a really good question, David. That's actually something that we haven't came across here. Myself and my head coach. This will be going into our 3rd year. We haven't had a situation where we felt like we needed to redshirt a young lady. But I think that if it came down to it, whether we're getting her here to redshirt just because we want to, or if we're getting her here to redshirt because maybe she gets injured, during summer, we still, whatever it may be. I think that depending on the caliber of player, us coaches, we go make it happen whatever way that we feel like we need to.
Yeah. And I always ask that because I'm curious to how JUCOs work to say, okay, let's say we got 15 or 16 players. We really like these 2. We don't want to let them go. We don't want to let them go to another school. Do we just stash them for a year? Or, I always wondered what the thinking was when you get to that point.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a conversation to have with that player too. I think that's the most important because we got to figure out what they want. And like I said, for us, because my thing is, we don't want to just keep a kid here just to try to keep her locked in. We want to make sure that this is actually what she wants to do as well. If she decides to stay, and if she's deciding to stay, knowing that she may not be playing, then we can have that conversation. But to be honest, I don't know how common it would be on the JUCO level because we got 2 years and we only got a certain amount of scholarships.
Yeah.
So that's why I say, it may depend on that caliber of player, maybe depend on situation. We haven't ran into that yet, but it's basketball. It'll probably come up at some point.
So let me ask this. So do you guys still have like open tryouts still?
You know what? We haven't had any posted any ads or anything going up saying that we're having an open tryout. I think that with it being so late, it may not be that beneficial. But the good thing is we've had a lot of local New Mexico, because those will probably be the ones that come, or be the local New Mexico students. Maybe a little bit right here in West Texas, but the good thing is that they're still having so many events that I've been able to get out on the weekends and go watch some of these kids play. Some of them are still unsigned or really just getting ready for the 2003 class.
So, okay. So, and I'm glad you just said that. So even as a JUCO coach,
yes,
I know you're over there in Dallas because Dallas got some really good girls tournaments. Houston does as well. So at least you don't have to go too far where you can stay in Texas, even though that's still a drive from where you're at.
Yeah, if I drive to Dallas, David, I'm staying a night at least. I'm not doing no one-way trip to Dallas. That's about a 6-hour drive. So it's not that far. But if I go, I'm not a night driver. I'm gonna have to stay. And then you mentioned Houston. Our local airport here has straight flight to Houston, straight connection flight. So that helps us out a lot too. So we're able to get down there. So much talent down there.
Yeah, Texas is loaded. Yeah.
Usually I'm battling with my good friends over at either Tyler or Trinity, or you got Angela. We got all of these
bunch of them. You got Kilgore. You got a bunch of them.
Man, so that's the only thing I'll say. When I step out there, I'm going hard because I'm already under the radar as far as schools, because they know those schools, but they don't know us over here a little bit out west. But
but you guys are typically in the top 25, so how can they not?
Hey, David, it goes back to what you mentioned in the beginning, which is research. Look, I know that when I was being recruited, coach called me, they tell me where they from, I'm getting off the phone, and at some point I'm gonna go look at what things look like on the website. Where is this at? What's the roster look like? Who's playing in my position? Just scope the scene a little bit. I don't think that happens too much nowadays. So I'll get a lot of young ladies who, I didn't talk to a few kids in Texas who don't even know about the JUCOs out there. And that's when I'm like, okay, like something they're so worried about the university level that they put all of their eggs in that basket and they're not open to anything else. And that's where you mess yourself up, especially being a high school player right now.
So when you're making calls, and like you said, and you come across a prospect that is not really educated on the JUCO level, so you're basically having to break it down all the way for them to get them to a better understanding.
I'm fine with that, honestly. And that for me doesn't even matter, how bad I want the kid or, what she could produce for us if we get her here. Like, to me, that doesn't matter. Since I've been coaching, which, I started out at the school I played with, but more so when I got out to Paris, Texas. And I noticed, so many parents, so many students, so many players didn't know about JUCO still. And I say still because I was in that same position a few years back when I was, trying to figure out my situation. I didn't know, being from California, I didn't know about the national JUCO system. I knew about a few of the 2 years that were local to me, but I didn't know about that. So when I get on the phone with a kid, as long as I feel like they're listening, because that's another thing, sometimes I get on the phone and I hear all the and I'm like, all right, let me go ahead and call it quits. But if I feel like they're really engaged, and then especially if the parent is on the phone, I break it all the way down. Whatever questions that they have, the most simplistic that I can, because I feel like you need to know. You need to know because there's so much information out there. It can become confusing. It can become overwhelming. You don't look into it because you just don't know. And yeah, so I'm fine with doing that. That's like I said, as long as they allow me to talk their head off, because I'm gonna go into detail to make sure that you got every aspect that you should.
So, and see, I'm gonna give you half a pass. And I'm gonna give you half a pass because in California they have their own JUCO system. So I blame those girls for not knowing outside of California.
Yeah, I definitely did it, man. I mean, all I knew when same thing, similar to some of these young girls right now. Hey, okay, let me start over. David, I was in a situation where I had some schools on me. Well, I tore my ACL in the All-Star game. So, after that, they scurried away, but so after that, everybody's like, hey, go JUCO. My mindset, I'm like, well, I don't need to go JUCO. I don't need to. That was my mindset. I went where I went for a year. University got released at the end of the year. Those JUCOs were recruiting me again. And at that point, I just took my time. And then I started getting some calls from, schools out in Oklahoma, Iowa. And then I got the call from New Mexico, from the last coach or not last coach, but yes, the assistant at the time, Talby Justice. He's up at Oklahoma now. He gave me a call. He broke it down for me, to where I could understand it completely. And literally, I think I committed within a few days. You know what I mean? But I had to because it was so late. It was already in August. And they called me like 2 or 3 weeks before school started. Yeah. So, I ain't really had much of a choice, but I was all for it, it just because what I heard, what the program stood for, we were going to be competing at a high level. I was going to be placed in front of college coaches. I had the opportunity to earn a full ride scholarship. For me, it was important because I was coming off of my ACL. I needed to regain that exposure again. So everything to me just sounded like it was the right fit. And that's what I hope that these young ladies get nowadays, whether it be going into JUCO, going to university, whatever it might be. I was talking to a coach about this earlier. I let young ladies know when I'm recruiting. I'm like, hey, if anything changes, I'm going to communicate with you as far as your position, what we have out, and then just do the same for me. If I'm blowing your phone up, but you didn't already decided or you didn't cut us out, let me know, because at the end of the day, it's about you finding the right fit for you.
Absolutely.
I'm not just trying to get you here and you be a little skeptical and then you get here and you're unhappy because you go end up transferring. And we don't need to do that. We want you to find a good fit, come here for a year or two, stay down, get better, work on your academics, work on your game, take your time to choose a good university for you.
So you said something I want to go back to a little bit. You said you were released from your scholarship, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, and I want people to understand this, when you said you were released, it was after the 1 year, for whatever reason. That part's not important. But a lot of people don't understand that most of these scholarships are not 4 years guaranteed. They are renewable after 1 year.
I think somebody posted that on Twitter the other day, and I thought it was so funny because I don't know if there was ever a time where it was, I'm not that old, so I don't know. I don't know if there was ever a time, but I will tell you, I was under the impression of the same thing going into college. I did not have the knowledge, or no one ever told me that, hey, when you go get a scholarship to a 4-year university, your scholarship is only for that first, 1 year.
Correct.
1 year. Every year you got to renew that baby. And so yeah, I was kind of a little threw off, but after that I just had to make myself knowledgeable pretty much. And that's when I was like, okay, it's a 1 year deal. So of course, when I got here, I wasn't playing no games. I'm like, all right, I need to make sure I can either come back here or go somewhere else. Like, I ain't trying to be cut again. That was my main thing. I wanted to be able to stay where I was at.
And in the atmosphere we're in right now, you're going to start seeing that a lot more, unfortunately, where you're starting to see, you're seeing really good players go into the portal. Yes. So with these really good players going in the portal, and, if you're 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, and there's a possibility that this all conference or, second team All-American is looking to come. As crazy as that sounds now,
that's what it is.
Yeah, like people have to understand, like, if she says, hey, I want to go to UCLA or USC and I'm 13th on the bench and there's no scholarships for this new lady that's interested, and when that end of the year exit interview comes, you might be dapping up everybody for the last time.
Yeah, and it's going to happen, like you said. I mean, that's kind of, unfortunately, that's the way that it's going now. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's a business, baby, and that's a big thing that these student athletes know. I think the parents know it, but these players got to understand it's a business. It's a business, and people are trying to take care of their families. People trying to, make sure that they winning, they winning streaks is right. Making sure that the team GPA is still up. Whatever it is, there's so much that goes into, especially these jobs at the higher level. I mean,
oh yeah.
At the end of the day, you have to make sure that you're making the right decision for you, because other people are going to make the right decision for them.
Absolutely, because I mean, some of those coaches are having winning records and still getting fired.
Who you telling? So, nobody is safe. Nobody is safe.
Nobody. Yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, it's it's either kill or be killed almost.
Hey, but yeah, I was gonna say, imagine the coaches kind of thinking the same thing as some of these, higher or low, whatever it might be. And you got a kid who you play 36 plus minutes a game, and she averaged 20 points, and then at the end of the year, she decided that she wants to move on somewhere. It's probably like, what? Where are you going?
Like, that's what's crazy. I'm still having a hard time wrapping my mind around the nuance of all this is, okay, the Power Fives are starting to recruit low major and mid major all conference players, and they're leaving. I'm like, but you're eating though. I don't understand that lure of going higher. I'm just like, man, this is crazy. Yeah,
that's what it is.
I don't know. I just look at that and I'm just, oof. But to your point, if I'm just say the low major coach and we just made it to the dance and we were strong and I'm excited for next year, I wake up the next day And I don't even have to tell you. I just have to go to the AD and say, hey, I want to put me in the portal. And you're getting surprised out of nowhere.
That's the other thing too. And you know, that part I think is probably the most frustrating amongst coaches, because it's the lack of communication. Yeah. And you know, it's kind of going backwards a little bit when, you know, when we tell these young adults that, hey, you know, this is the time for you to, you know, grow, learn to communicate, you know, learn to push through, you know what I mean? Like, this is life. This is how you need to start here. But at the same time, we're allowing them to do things that probably, you know, unless you just quitting your job, you know, that's just, you don't just go somewhere, you know, below the person that you're working for or play for, and then just make a big decision like that. Understandably, during those times where the relationships are, you know, if it's friction there,
yeah,
you don't feel supported, or you don't, you know, whatever it may be, those, you know, you have your exceptions. But on the grand scale of things, I mean, man, that's the crazy part to me. They could walk into the office without saying nothing to nobody, just go to that one person, and, you know, be in the portal the next day. And I've actually, maybe about 2 different players, you know, I've called coaches, because I'll do that sometimes from wherever the player is transferring from.
Follow up
out to the coaches. And I, like I said, I'll just do that sometimes. I like this. I want good kids, good people. I want good people. And so I've called, I think it's happened twice, and I've called and I'm like, hey, you know, coach, I'm reaching out about this kid here, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, they're in the portal? And I'm like,
ooh,
dang, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but yeah, like, I'm sorry, because I didn't want to be the one to have to tell you. I thought that this was already, you know, but and that happens, and that part is like, man, like, that part's crazy.
And who's to say you take that kid and they don't do the same thing to you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But do you take a chance if that's a 2010 person?
Hey, you know, my guy Chris was on Twitter earlier, and he said he don't care how many times a player transfers, as long as it ain't behavioral issues. If she in the portal, she communicate or not, whatever, he go take her. And you know what? I think at this at JUCO level, you know, sometimes we'll make those exceptions, because, you know, it's like I think the big part was the behavior, you know, because we don't want to have to try to manage getting you here. We got 1 or 2 years with you, which is a small amount of time, and manage you growing as a person, making sure your grades as well, making sure you're developing the court, trying to win, trying to take care of everybody, but then also having to deal with the behavioral issues. You know what I mean? But if you're a young lady, you just coming in, or you just looking for a spot to play, you know, maybe you want to touch down JUCO for a year to get your numbers up, I'm all for it. You know what I mean? Like, we go get you here, you go be able to help us. Hopefully we can help you. And, you know, you get out of here pretty solid, finding you a place that you actually want to be.
Okay. So, you know, this past season, how'd you guys do this past season?
You know, we did good, but not good enough. No, I'm playing. You know, we did really well, David. It was, I'll say for sure, it was refreshing. You know, having the COVID year. I think the last time I was on here, it was during that year. We didn't have a year at all. So being able to, you know, bounce back, go right into gameplay, you know, without any issues. Of course, just making sure that we abide by the COVID stipulations. Yeah. I mean, it was definitely refreshing. So we ended up doing well. I think we went for the whole year. I think we ended up going 25-6.
Oh, okay.
So you know, we made a nice run in conference. We were able to win conference, and then, you know, we made it up to regionals, fell short. Made it to nationals, fell short. But you know, overall, I would definitely say, you know, for it being, you know, my first year, my head coach's first year, you know, these girls coming in after that COVID year and just locking in and grinding it out all season and doing what we had to do. You know, early on in conference, it didn't look too good. We took, I think it was two very early losses in conference, and, you know, you only got a small amount of window before you out of it as far as conference goes. And so we were able to bounce back, you know, went on a winning streak, ended up going 13-0 at home, you know, protect home court is one of my biggest things. And so, yeah, you know, we did well, and I think we're in pretty good shape for next year. We'll have 8 returning.
Oh,
So,
wow. Okay.
you know, with that, that's a pretty good setup. But we're looking for key pieces as we're recruiting this spring. And so, yeah, you know, we're being really patient with how we handle that.
Did you guys play Tyler this year?
You know what? We did not get to play Tyler. So, you know,
wow.
when we got to nationals, they were actually on the other side of the bracket.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we usually do tournaments early on in season out in the Dallas area.
Okay.
But I know that Trina, I know that she has a set amount of tournaments that she goes to. I think she pretty much does the same ones every year. Unfortunately, you know, we didn't collide and end up playing each other. But yeah, those are my people over there. The assistant, Chelsea Hudson. I mean, she's big time as well. We played in OVC together, so it's really good being able to have that connection and then just seeing them succeed the way that they did. I mean, definitely big time. 3 women, 3 Black women. You know, I'm all for it, and I think that they're taking that program. You know, it's already been good, but it's just getting better.
Oh yeah. To be honest, I think it's a matter of time before somebody gets her.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, just kind of is what it is. When you take a program like that to new heights, somebody's gonna come knocking on that door.
Somebody's gonna come knocking. But you know what? I wouldn't be surprised. You know, I don't know. You know, I can't say because I don't speak that often to Coach Trina. But you know, I feel like that's her school. You know, so she might just be willing to go ahead and hold it down. But like you said, at the same time, you do what you did. You know, she got there 2 times in a row, and that second time you win it all. I mean, that's big right there. That's big right there. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Whatever it is, though, it's going to be a good opportunity for her.
Oh, there's no question about that. Just like I know in due time, your time is coming, you know.
Oh, yeah, and I'm being patient about it. You know, I had a lot of people at the convention asking me if I was going to move around a bit. And, you know, I just think that with the year that we had and the young ladies we have returning, and then also just for me, David, you know, I'm not, and I think I might have touched on this the last time, I'm not looking to just hop to the next best thing. You know, I'm not just trying to rise straight to the top D1. I want to be at a good school that supports the athletic programs, and I want to work well with the people who I work with. Those are the 2 things that I always say, and I think the second one that I said is probably the most important. Just work well with the people who I work with. That's very important to me. So, you know, we have a pretty good dynamic here, my head coach and I. And, you know, as far as me getting my own opportunity, I'm sure it'll come, but I'm going to be patient about it.
Oh, definitely. I'm sure that'll come. Now, next year is totally different. Men's and women's is in Texas next year.
Man, who you telling me? Just talking about that today. I don't know. Like, I can already see some people trying to do both at the same time. I'm gonna tell you, I'll be in Dallas, and that's it. I'm not doing no trips.
I'm doing both. I'm telling you right now, I will be up and down 45 with no problem.
Man, look, you'd be better off catching a flight. You'd be there in 30 minutes. But no, you know, I think that's going to be really exciting. Just because it'll, you know, just in Texas. I mean, and Texas is so great that it could hold 2 events like that at the same time in 2 big cities right down the road from each other. But I'm definitely excited. So much growth and learning from the one that I went to this year here in not here, but out in Minneapolis. I mean, it was cold as ever, and I think that was definitely probably the downside for everyone. But it was a great convention, definitely refreshing. Coming off of my last time going was Tampa, so that was 3 years ago. So yeah, it just felt really good to be around some other good coaches, have some basketball talks, have some personal talks, because it's not all basketball. We got to make sure that we checking in on each other on the personal level. And then just being able to utilize that time to really network and learn. I mean, it was great.
Oh yeah, because you know, when you were talking about the WBCA, I was down in New Orleans, and New Orleans was crazy. I mean, I was like, my goodness, and I can't wait for next year to go to the women's one as well. Like I said, I'm gonna be burning the rubber.
Look, you're gonna be tired.
Talking about it right now, man. I'm telling you.
You're gonna be tired, yeah. And I'm gonna see you, and I'm gonna say, I know you tired, because you gonna be tired. That's gonna be the big thing.
I'm gonna be hyped up because, like I said, there's some stuff I want to do on the women's side as far as doing some of the JUCO camps in Dallas. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll be doing some stuff in Houston. So listen, I'm ready. Trust me, I'm ready.
You talk about JUCO in Texas, you know you all set with that. I mean, that's you got all the schools right there. So I'm pretty sure it's gonna be pretty successful for you.
Oh yeah, and you know the coaches is already there, so you know I'm just yes indeed, yes. Right. But you know the only one thing I hate, and I'll say this, and I know you'll agree with this, California, will y'all stop it and join the NJCAA, please?
Oh, I've been saying that since I came here and was playing, and I was like, oh, these girls is for reals out here. Like, I think that there are a certain amount of players who do play at a very high level out in California because, you know, we typically see those players going big time. They go into the Stanfords, they go into Berkeley, you know what I mean? They go into Pacific, whatever it might be, they go into Oregon. Like those really good players, they're getting out. However, those young ladies who kind of sitting in between, they're just playing against that same competition that they did in high school. And I just think that, you know, in my personal opinion, me stepping outside the state, just to come over here and play some of these girls from Texas, from Mississippi, that did so much for me. And so, you know, why they stay on their own system, I have no idea. No idea at all. I know, you know, I don't know how easy it would be to, you know, kind of intermesh the regions, I guess I would say. I guess like more NorCal, you'll be able to get some of those, I don't know, Wyoming and Utah, maybe. You got Las Vegas has a school now. You got all the schools in Arizona. They'll be able to mesh towards, you know.
There's only one problem, though, that the CCCAA is so big. Because there's like, I think like almost 100 in that conference altogether. So the only question would be, how would that work? You know, like you said, breaking down the region. So, man, but outside of that, I would love to see them in the national tournament and, you know, make it happen. That's what I don't like about it.
You have some really good JUCOs out that way, man. I mean, down, you know, Southern California, you got Mount Sac. You go up the coast a little bit, you got Ventura. You know, you got a couple of different schools up in the Bay Area. I mean, there are some schools who will be able to definitely hold their own, but I think that for the benefit of the players, men's and women's, you know what I mean? Men and women's, like, I think just being able to experience some of the other competition, and then, you know, if your team is good enough to go to that national tournament, then you could see on a wider scale what you really up against. You know what I mean? Not just for where you at then in JUCO, but what you up against with whatever university that you choose. You know what I mean? It's really, I feel like it just prepares you for that next level.
Okay. Last question for you. What are you guys looking for next year to come in the
Oh man, David, you know, and I was already go text you this. I need a point guard. I need a post. Those are the two biggest ones right now. You know, we're losing a really good point guard to St. John's. Wow. And you know, that's gonna be some big shoes to fill, hard to replace, but I'm looking, you know what I mean? I'm looking, and like I said, I've been looking at high school players. I'm not just going to jump into the portal right away. Now I'm a look. You know, I might every now and then go ahead and make sure I'm keeping my eyes open. But you know, I need a really good point guard. We need a solid post to be able to come in and help us out. Somebody who's just, you know, tenacious at the rebounding and finishing, but you know, can also move up and down that court because we play pretty fast. And then probably either two or like three other players to where, you know, we got some scholarship money that we could give out and either get another guard. You know, we need a shooter. And then, you know, after that, it could kind of just be, you know, a combo guard, maybe a forward. We take another post, you know, but somebody who could put the ball in the hole. That's one thing. You got to make sure that you're able to put the ball in the hole. I mean, you talked about playing time earlier. With Coach, was it Living? I believe it was. We talked a little bit about how he likes to do his starting lineups and who plays and all of that. You know, we pretty much we're looking to match up for each matchup that we have. So, you know, we're going to look at our starters. If we need to switch it around, we will. This year we typically kept it the same because it worked out for us for this year. But as far as who's coming off the bench, who's getting minutes, it don't matter if you freshman, sophomore, if you putting the ball in the hole, if you playing defense, if you're doing what we need for the game you go be in. So definitely. But to answer your question more directly, point guard, post, and then I'm open. I send me some ballers.
Who are you losing outside the young lady? The two that you need, because trust me, there are people listening. The two people that are unsigned, who are they?
Okay, so we have Maji Penn. She's 6'5" post. Definitely needs some work, but she has 3 years. So that's one thing that I've been really trying to get out to these coaches. She's a great young lady. We were able to use her when we needed some size, but unfortunately we play a really fast game. So, and in our conference, we don't have a lot of 6'5", but we have a lot of 6'1", 6'2" who can move. So it just made it hard for us to be able to play her as much as we like to, because we rarely play zone. We're a man defense type of team. But as I mentioned, I mean, the girl, she has the bones for sure. I mean, she's not somebody who's going to be tripping over her feet, or can't grab the rebound or something like that. She could grab it. She could get in there. She just needs to be a little bit more polished on her moves. But anybody who's going to be willing to work with her with 3 years, I mean, you got some time. And then aside from that, I have Cabria Lewis. She's from New Orleans. And she's getting some interest. She's been getting some interest. Unfortunately, I think that us not going super far in nationals may have messed her up, but she's a baller, man. Definitely a combo. Her bread and butter is coming off of the wings, coming off of the screen. She got a nice little mid-range jumper, nice little mid-range game. She could shoot the three. She did really good for us this year at shooting the three. And then she's also, she that energy giver. She got the New Orleans swag to her. She ain't about to back down to nobody. But at the same time, she's behavior is good. She's really respectable. And she came in this year. She handled business academically to make sure she's able to get up out of here. So, she's available, and I'll be posting some highlights about them tomorrow, actually, on our school page.
Okay. Yeah. Make sure you tag me on that.
Will do.
Definitely, man. We can sit up here and talk all day and all night.
It's been a minute, David. But I had to check in on you through text. I like to be able to just check in on my people, and you said you had to open, and I'm gonna make it happen for you.
Definitely. I appreciate you. Whatever I can do to help, you already know. Even when we go months without talking, I'm like, let me hit her up. Let me see what's going on.
Yeah,
I haven't talked to her in a minute.
That's what it's all about, man. That's what it's all about. I try to make sure I keep a couple of good, friends in this game, not just coaching colleagues. Yeah, but like I said, just being able to hit you up and just check in how your business going, how how's it looking at your way, something simple. And I think that's really, really, really necessary amongst us coaches. We got to make sure we check in on each other.
Yeah, because when people get, when you get your head down and things get to rolling, as like when AAU get to rolling, you look up, you're like, man, it's August.
Look, that's why I told you, make sure you're getting some rest, because I know you about to be shaking and grooving for sure, but you got to make sure that you're taking care of yourself first.
True that. You're right. I can't even complain on that. You are absolutely correct, because this thing can get hectic. And once live periods, like the men's live period was this past weekend, and it felt like Friday through Sunday just was a blur. It was a blur. You talking to coaches, you're at games, you look up, it's Saturday, you're talking to coaches, you're at games, you look up, it's Sunday. Next thing you know, it's Sunday afternoon, and you tired, like, man, this weekend flew by.
And then it's Monday. We back to it. You know what I mean? We back to it. So I definitely understand. Like I said, just make sure, hopefully you taking care of yourself, safe travels everywhere you're going, because I know you're going to be moving from place to place. But it's always a pleasure, David. It's always a pleasure. I'm glad that I was able to come on here. Hopefully we got some people watching. Just let me know, the next time, maybe it will be another year out from now, another little postseason review.
Well, it won't be COVID this time, because you remember last time it was right before COVID, and then like 2 weeks later. Because remember, you got a young lady that I sent you, and then you hit me. It was like, oh, we're not gonna have a season. I was like, what? No.
And that was B2.
Yeah, she ended up going B2. The young lady.
Is she out in Florida?
No, she's in Georgia. She's in Georgia.
Oh, okay. So she's right there still in home.
Yeah. So she signed, because she ended up she went somewhere in Texas.
She went to Howard.
Yes.
She ended up going right here down the road to Howard, and had a pretty good year. And then they went to the regionals. And so I think that did her pretty well, because she was a standout on that team.
Oh yeah, she did well there. She did well. So hopefully we'll be able to do that magic again this time. Between now and August.
Hey, if you got them, you know what I'm looking for now. If you got them, if you see them, I need that. I need you to hit my line because, like I said, we're looking, but we're trying to be patient with who is point guard and post. We got to be real specific with them, especially the point guard. We got to be real specific. So we're taking our time. But if you send me a kid and I know we need to move on her, calling my coach right away.
And that's what happened last time. You remember that's how quick it happened. I was like,
right away.
And I can speak to you. I can stamp you on that one because I hit you and was like, hey, this one's going to move fast. You was on that phone and you was closing the deal. I was like, dang, okay.
All I gotta do is see a little, give me some game film, give me a highlight, either one. All I need to see is about 2 minutes. And once I see 2 minutes, I know we need her. Or, hey,
because it was that night. I remember, if I'm not mistaken, like I hit you late because it was like I hit you at 10 o'clock. Well, it was 10 o'clock here, and it was probably what 9 or 8 there.
Yeah.
I was like, well, she'll probably get this tomorrow. I was like, hey, got something. You might need to just later. Like, I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, well, she's still up. This, that, the other. You hit me back, was like, I got everything set up for tomorrow. And I'm like, I'm looking at my phone like, what?
I got a couple of college coaching friends who, especially the ones out on the East Coast, I just must be the person that's up late because they calling me, it's 10, 11 o'clock over there. They calling me like, hey, what's up? And I guess I'm just the person that's available around it because I'm up. So if I'm up and I see a kid, I'm moving on it right then and there. I'm not trying to wait till tomorrow.
You're right. And that was my thing. And I was like, well, she'll see this tomorrow. I was like, I'm just going to do this now so I don't get tied up. I'm getting ready to get all cozy. Ting.
Look, by tomorrow, she would have been signed somewhere else. So that's why I had to do it tonight.
You're right. You're so right. But that's the way, that's the way of the business. You got to move. You snooze, you lose,
Hey, that's the name of the game right there. That's the name of the game. But like I said, David, definitely a pleasure. I hope everything is well. I see your business is booming. I think what you're doing is great for the young ladies and the young men that you're helping out. So keep doing what you do.
I appreciate it. And, I appreciate you. Like, it's hard to believe that was 2 years ago I had you on the show. But like I said, your time is coming. Like, it's just a matter of time, but you look happy where you're at. And that's what matters the most. You know what I mean?
Yes. And that's the big thing for me. I want to be happy. You know what I mean? So, I'm going to be here until I feel like it's time for me to move on. And hopefully wherever I move on to is the right move for me. I'm not trying to end up in the transfer portal too much. So, Definitely. I want to make sure I pick the right place. So
definitely. Make sure you send me your schedule for the events you're going to this summer.
Okay, for sure. I appreciate you sending me what you did because I could sit down and talk to my head coach about which ones I'll be able to make it out to.
Especially the bigger ones. The bigger ones, because it's going to be bang for the buck for you. You know what I'm saying? And those bigger ones, I would say definitely Louisville.
Yeah, I need to get out that way for sure. That Kentucky area, and then also going up to like Chicago and stuff. Those are the two places I need to really try to make it out to this year.
Yeah, because Run for the Roses is it's going to be Run for the Roses on the independent side, but the EYBL stop is there as well. I was like, ooh, boy.
That's big time. And that's when I could get in there and get an eye on some of those 23s that the other coaches might not be paying. They looking at 24s and 25s. All right, that's fine by me. Let me get these 23s that's still available because I'm gonna need a full class pretty much. So
for 23.
For 23, yeah, because we got 8 returners.
8 returners, yeah. You have to get on that early, and that's so. Like I said, the landscape's going to change for you to be able to grab some of them because of the portal. Because that's a whole nother show, but
it definitely is.
I appreciate you so much. As you know, I told you last time this wouldn't be the last time you come on the show, and this won't be the last time. Next time it'll be a year or so from now. I'm like, oh, this is the 3rd time. We welcome them, our guests as usual. But
hey, and I'm ready. I'm ready always. So just let me know, David. I definitely appreciate it. And I hope everything's going well for you.
Definitely. You have a good one, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Sounds good.
All right. You take care.
You too, David.
All right. Bye-bye. Coach Lee, like I said, definitely a good friend of the show. man, I mean, people get rid of that stigma about JUCOs, because if you all were to actually go to New Mexico JC, and I'm not here to call out any schools, I know of a number of schools where New Mexico JC has better facilities that are four-year schools. Don't knock it until you at least research it. I'm not saying you got to go there. At least research it and don't knock it. That's going to wrap it up for this week. It's been a minute that we were able to get on because of the Final Four, and I had a media association meeting yesterday as well. But next week we're going to be on. We're going to try and get the coach from Tyler JUCO on next week, who won the national championship, who we're previously talking about. We have another JUCO coach that's probably going to come on, and another 4-year men's coach, and more than likely, possibly a post-grad coach as well. So that'll wrap it up for tonight. You guys have a great week, and I will see you next Monday. Take care.